I wasn't always a financial advisor or a financial planner. Back in the days, I has worked about 7 years happily as an engineer. So why did I quit? Why did I stop working in the corporate world as an engineer? And back in the days, I was actually handling this project where our customer is Apple, right? The company Apple that sells you iPhones. So why did I quit? And during my stint, my first 7 years at corporate, actually I had a lot of opportunity to travel to the US, UK, and all that. Now, you might want to check out this video if you haven't seen that already. But what really makes me quit, it's something that I recently discovered. Someone say about why a lot of people, a lot of you, and probably you who are born between in the 80s and 90s can relate to. Remember, if you are born in the 80s or 90s, if you are in your late 20s or in your early 40s or even in your 30s right now, this is probably something you can relate if you have worked in the corporate world long enough.
Born 1980 to 1995. Where are my Gen Ys? Oh, look at that. It's such a sight of great beauty. In the last decade, the fastest growing businesses in Australia have been businesses set up by Gen Ys who can't find the workplace culture, the leadership, and the flexibility that they want in their careers. And they've basically said to large organisations, you, I'm going to set up my own business. Right? And yet, you are portrayed in the press as being a restless, irresponsible, entitled generation. To which I respond as a champion of Gen Ys, if Gen Ys appear to have an entitlement mentality, who made them that way? They're baby boomer parents. Parents like me, guilty as charged. And the motto of a Gen Y is, I have a life. They don't go, I have a work and personal life. I have a life. And in the workplace, they are the first generation to use technology to work smarter, not harder. Because why would you want what I've had? My daughters were responsible for me leaving corporate life. One of my daughters, who was 19 at the time, said, you know, Mum, I don't know what I want to do when I finish uni, but I do know 3 things. She said, number 1, I don't want to work the hours you've worked. As long as I've known you, Mum, you've worked 60, 70 hours a week. And for what? Who even said thank you? She said, number 2, all you do is work and look after us. You have no social life, you never see your friends, you don't go to the gym anymore, you don't do anything you like, you just work and look after us. And it was the 3rd one that really tipped me over the edge and made me decide to set up my own business. And she said, and another thing, Mum, I've watched you the last few years. She said, and I'm not going to work for the wankers you've worked for. Because boy, have you worked for some wankers in your corporate career.
Most of the time, it won't be feasible or even practical for you to actually call the shot and say that, look, I'm going to quit my job and do something else. Because survival is the core matter over here, especially if you already have a family, have kids that depends on you financially. You can't really make that switch. I've seen so many people try to make that switch to say that screw my boss, I'm going to do something else, I'm going to start a business, and then 1 year later, they are back to working at the same company or the same position. So how to actually make this transition practical and sustainable? Well, the first thing is what people do today. One of the lot of cases I advise on come to us not because they feel old and they want to actually retire for the sake of retiring. No, it's because they want to actually switch gears and do something else out of what you already watch in the first part of this video. So finances, we are reliving in a realistic world over here. You need money. Money is not everything, but money is the resource so that it gives you options in life. And I really want to stress why a lot of people want, not need, but really want to plan for the finances. It's because they want to anticipate how many years more they want to actually stop working and just do their own thing, whatever that could be. If lazing in the beach is your kind of thing, go ahead. If starting a business or doing something else that gives you lower pay is something that, go ahead. But the thing is, you have to take care of the welfare of your family financially and all that, right? So how do you make that kind of decision? Now, I'm not saying to you that you should actually do this or that, but likely, if you can relate what I share with you so far, then you probably are going to make one of the most important decisions in your life. It's either path A or path B. How to make that kind of decision? Now, there's nobody I found can articulate this better than what you're going to watch for this next part of this video.
The problem is 98% of people are sitting on 50-50 their whole fucking life, which means they're 0-0. So when you're 50-50, you get one day. And anything else is you're just fucking sitting and bullshitting. So fucking flip a coin to pick the one and never look back.
Anybody out there? I have a big life decision to make between two choices. How do I know which way to go?
You'll never know what the alternative would have been. You pick one and you never, ever, ever even consider to look back.
Give any quick piece of advice.
What should I do?
I don't know which one to pick.
Which one should I do?
So what should we do, Gary Vee? What should people do?
Until you go through it, you won't know. I always play this out. Let's say when you go to heaven, they can show you what would have happened, because that's the only way you'd ever see it. Let's just say. What people don't understand is, oh, you made the wrong call. You should have went to grad school instead of that opportunity, or this company instead of that company. But you'll never believe it. You should have went to VaynerMedia, and it was perfect. And you rose like a phoenix, and you were the head of all sound, and everything went great. But then you had to go to Virginia on business, and you got hit by a car and you died at 31. That's life. I passed on Uber as an investor twice in the beginning. If I did my normal $25,000, $50,000 check, I would have made $400 million. Which means I might have went to China for a keynote 2 years ago, which means I could have got hit by a fucking bus. I really believe in that shit. You just don't know. You think you know, but that is not how life works. So, to like look at two ideas and think you can practically make a good decision is laughable. Literally flip a coin. Just pick the one that feels better right that second and make it about you. Because usually what kids struggle with is the decision they want to do versus the decision that they think they're supposed to do based on the other voices. I think anybody who's listening right now, if you want to set yourself up for success, ask yourself how much risk you've taken in the first 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years of your life. You're going to figure it out by tasting it. Should I eat this cherry? Will I like it? The right strategy is to fucking eat the cherry, right? Moving is important because you can change the course. You can't overthink it up front, right? Like you just can't. Like we're always wrong. A lot of people make the wrong decision. No matter what I say to your question right now, and they're scared, they'll continue to be, they won't put in the work, or they'll be fearful, or whatever it may be, and they'll lose. A lot of people lose. A lot of people lose. The way to really eliminate fear is by not giving a fuck about anybody's opinion. My losses are mine. I'll deal with them myself. I don't need your 2 cents. You're losing plenty on your own. If you don't give a fuck about what people think, you can do everything. But the quicker you start, the quicker you do. I think people dwell. I think dwelling is the wrong strategy. I don't even respect my losses. I don't even give them the time to teach me anything. I fucking look them in the face and just go, fuck you, and I keep going. Think one time for 1 hour, make a decision, and go. I don't want to hear you fucking complaining about it every day. And I mean that. Way too many of you dwell on your losses. It's holding you back. Too many people make a decision and then cry about their decision every fucking second. You made a fucking decision, own it, live it, sleep in that bed, shit's over. You lost. Move the fuck on. Literally flip a coin. Guys, the only thing I'm hedging against is regret. That's what you need to be careful of. Regret's scary. Regret. And that's what most people do. They build a life that leads to regret. Nobody old and about to die talks about what they did. They talk about what they didn't do. And you're in the best spot right now. You're in the best spot you'll ever be. Straight up. This is the time to be most thoughtful. But everybody wants you to figure out your life now. Your parents don't have their lives figured out. This is the time to taste and put yourself in good positions. You could do everything wrong for the next 10 years of your life and be young as fuck. And have unlimited time to do anything you want.
Thank you, Gary. Now I know which way to go. By the way, it was tails.